Peace. This is Black Dot, author of Hip Hop Decoded, and my latest offering, Urban Culture Decoded. Between now and the new year, this book will be $10 plus shipping and handling. It makes for a great Christmas, Kwanzaa, or holiday gift for a young or old person who loves to read. This book will go in depth into our entire culture, from hip hop to the grocery store to the barbershop to the liquor store. I advise you to get this copy between now and the new year, because then the price goes back up. It can be purchased at iDecoded, that's idecodeit.com, for a limited time only. Peace.
All right, so welcome back to Urban X TV, everybody. I have a special guest with me today, talking to me via Skype because we couldn't be in the same place. But this is Dale Dammersberg Jr., commonly known as DJ the Money Coach. Welcome. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure.
No, thank you for having me. I've been a big fan of your program, and I wish you all the best, and keep maxing to the fullest, my young friend.
So you are a professional speaker, an author, a certified senior financial planner, and a certified estate advisor. Also the founder of the seven spheres of money educational financial seminars, right? Is that right? It's a lot, man. I'm sorry.
It's the 7 spheres of money financial education system.
Okay.
And our mantra is, we want you to live a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money, peace of mind, and come join us on the beaches of the World Club.
All right. So first, I want to get started on what brought you to this career path in the first place, because a lot of people in the Black community, we love money. We love getting money. We love spending money, but we don't love really talking about how to keep our money. So I wanted you to explain where you started.
Okay, well, I'll give you the condensed version. Always, since I was 6 years old, I knew I wanted to be a business, and I had an affinity for playing Monopoly. If you ever played Monopoly, my family, we used to play Monopoly and this game called Life, and that's all we did. And I used to be great at it. I used to beat everybody, adults, the whole 9 yards. So from there, I wanted to be an accountant, wanted to be a CPA, and went to school to become a CPA, and found out that I didn't like being a CPA. I didn't become a CPA. I got a minor degree in accounting, and I went off into a totally different field, and found out that that wasn't what it was about. So I went into car business, went into cleaning business, went in a variety of different businesses, because I'm just at the heart, I'm a serial entrepreneur. But in the early 90s, my mother was a victim of predatory lending by the guy who actually owns the Cleveland Cavaliers. That bogus mortgage company called Rocket Mortgages used to be called something else back in the 90s, and they actually predatory lended my mom on a refinance of her house.
Wow.
So when that happened, I partied my way out of my first college, and then my parents kicked me off the food chain, and I had to go at 19 and do my own thing. And from that period on, I realized, I said, you know what? I'm gonna master money. So fast forward to 2000, after I built 2 7-figure companies. One was a cleaning company and one was a small technology company. I had a mentor that reached out to me and said, hey, DJ, I want to bring you onto my financial team. I want you to get your financial securities license, Series 6, Series 63, life and health, get your certifications, and I want you to help me grow this business. So I said, man, timing couldn't be better, because I'm going to be in this business. So I got in the business, got the security license. I went back, helped my mother clean up her stuff, started working through my church, started seeing a lot of people who I admired and thought they had a lot of money that were actually broke at a higher level. And eventually I just realized that a lot of stuff we see on TV and here on the radio, and the internet was new at that time, was all fictitious and fraudulent. And anybody that had a big car and a big house, and if they looked like me, 9 out of 10 times they were strapped and debt, they were strapped in stress, and they were working like a Hebrew slave.
Wow.
So I took on the passion that it became my advocacy to get those people out of consumer debt. And at that time, Malcolm, here's the irony. I had a 525 credit score, and I too, having a college education, had over $40,000 in consumer debt when I was about your age.
Wow. Okay, so you you were able to get into this. You were able to start your businesses and things like that. What were some of your initial challenges with starting your businesses? Because you say you were a serial entrepreneur, so a lot comes with that.
Yeah, well, the initial challenges were on the social side.
Okay.
Um, almost I was already a headstrong individual. Let me state that. God gave me the gift of intuition, and always gave me the gift to see bullshit. Pardon my French.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I got on the financial side and I started looking at, you know what, I want to do what the Jews do. I want to do what the Chinese do. I want to do what these Asian Indians do, and I want to incorporate the knowledge I gained financially. And the first people I want to help are right here in my house. I want to help my mother. I want to help my older sister. I want to help my nephews. I want to help my immediate first cousins. And I became like fire and brimstone, like the bull in the china store. And anybody I saw that I knew was broke, I just would hammer them. And that was not good. So that burned a lot of bridges.
Okay.
Burned a lot of bridges. So that was the first mistake and the first challenge I had. The second one was that I was engaged to a very wealthy doctor who family was better off than the Cosbys. This is real talk, real talk. Okay, and the young lady's parents wanted me to get an MBA and pursue a PhD because I needed to fit in this image because I wasn't, born with a silver spoon in my mouth like she was.
Right.
And so I had to overcome that and also be hard focused on getting my people up because we weren't poor. I went to private school. We did grow up in the projects, not me personally, but my mother grew up in a project called Cabrini Green in Chicago, which no longer exists, which is now
I've definitely seen a documentary on
yeah,
that.
exactly. It's one of the most prominent projects in the whole United States, and a
Okay.
lot of great people came out of it, but at the same time, a lot of problems came out. So my mother was a lady who was married, young, had me at 19, and she had to overcome a lot of stuff, and she got herself out of the projects, put herself through nursing school, and got married, got divorced, and still was able to put me and my sister through private school.
Mm.
So with that said, those challenges became where I had a mindset that, you know what, anything less than the best in life is unacceptable because the more knowledge I gain, the better my family should become. And at that time, growing up, there was this show called Dynasty that everybody used to watch, the Carringtons. And I was like, man, I want to be the Black Carringtons, you know. And since we go to private school and my mother's busting her hump, then why can't we have everything that these people have?
Right.
So those challenges were more internally, and then you had the conflict of people who didn't want to better themselves that came from that environment and saw us improving. It started became a hate internal, just like the pathology of slavery.
Mm.
That was more of the challenge. Conversely, when I dealt with whites, Chinese, Asian Indians, man, we did business, never had a problem. But the problem was eternal that I was looked at as, somebody thought I was better than other people,
Mm-hmm.
or I was looked at people who were in the Cosby seat that I was not good enough for. So I had to be a chameleon and had to figure out who I really was in terms of just my intelligence, but really knowing who I was. That was the biggest challenge. And when I got over that hump, it became easy to understand what I was facing before I knew what this thing is we're facing now about this, internal, system called, racism.
Right.
Those were my biggest challenge. But as far as the technical side, the book part, and putting the businesses together, dude, that was a piece of cake. It was fighting with people that look like you and me.
So that's very interesting because you call you call yourself the money coach, right? So how were you able to get over that hump, and how are you able to, because you said those were some of your initial challenges, how are you able to get past that now to be able to talk to people who are not really financially literate and be able to teach them, like, listen, this is the way, without trying to offend them or without trying to put them down, and so they won't look at you a certain way?
Well, here's a great thing. I'm twice your age. I'm the same age as your dad. Okay. So one thing, I am very laser focused. So after I got through that initial BS, I just had a plan and I just worked the heck out of my plan. And in the process of working the heck out of my plan, I built up a great resume. And from building up a great resume and dealing with multinational companies, this is not a brag. These are just facts.
Right.
Okay. So
brag a little bit. Brag a little bit.
So here's the thing. It's not arrogance if you've accomplished it.
Right.
Muhammad Ali said, hey, if I knocked out Joe Frazier, I knocked out Joe Foreman, and you ask me who the best, and I tell you I'm the best because you see me do it, that's not a brag.
Right.
I'm not going out saying, hey, I'm all glorious. So in the process of building my business, I start knocking down successful plateaus that white people couldn't even do.
Right.
And I'll give you an example. My very first company that I started was called White Glove Immaculate Services before I got into the money business, and I actually inked a multi-million-dollar deal with a company called Ashland Chemical, which at the time in 1998 was the second largest acrylic company in the world next to 3M.
Wow.
I actually was the first person to go in, get a contract as a business owner, not as a black man, but I never, shied away from being black. But I went in, got a contract with one of their facilities. They're an oil refinery company that does acrylic resins, okay?
Okay.
So getting one of their contracts and looking how they did business. While I was working in technology, they were still working on general ledger. They literally had a book with their, ledgers of their credits and debits, and studying their things that they do. They didn't change their business model for 50 years, but they were $1 billion company. So I started seeing glaring holes where I can make money. And one of those things was just renegotiating their cleaning, supply contract. And when I renegotiated, I got a cut of a piece of the pie, and they didn't even know about it.
Wow.
And when I did that and cleaned up one of their facilities and did real well, they gave me another facility, and I doubled my rate on them. Then I brought in all black vendors and went from having one of their sites to all 7 of them in the course of 3 years. So I went from making as little as $2,000 a month with them to making over $40,000 a month on one contract, just on the service part. And then on negotiating the supplies and other auxiliary services, I went up over 6 figures a month.
Wow.
So,
okay.
So I took that as my first success. And then at the same time, I went and blew all that money as well.
Okay. So you went and blew all that money. So was that a part of your, even though you were making this money, was that a part of your lack of financial literacy?
You know what? It wasn't really part of my lack of financial literacy. You know what it was part is? There's a thing that everybody goes through that's called New Rich. And
okay.
I just got to prove that I can have what I want.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
I didn't go broke. I wasn't
Right.
out on the street, but I blew a lot of money.
Okay.
So I had already figured out that I had to have a financial acumen, but at the same time, I probably should have put a lot of more money away. But I just spent it, and I took care of friends and took them to parties and took them on trips and stuff like that. And then when I didn't like the business, because I didn't like the cleaning business, but I liked the money.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to get even bigger, and I started hiring the wrong people. So that business eventually came to a hedge where I had to make a decision. Was I going to be in that business for the cleaning business, or was I just going to be in it for the money? And I was in it for the money. So of course it went away.
Okay.
So in the process of it going away, the things that I had, they went away too, but I was always wise enough to pay all my stuff in full. So I didn't lose a house. I didn't lose a car, but I lost all the other superficial stuff.
Okay.
Okay. And in the process of that happening, that became a cautionary tale that I'm able to now tell that story and be 100% with people who, you don't want to listen to me. Guess what? I've done it. Look, here's my playbook. You can actually go check this out and see if I had a contract with these guys. So
Okay.
if you ain't where I was at your age at 25 to 28 and had $1 million company, or at 30 and got into a $2 million company, then guess what? I don't care if you listen to me, because I have a saying: if I don't see you today ever again, I'm still gonna sleep well, I'm still gonna be debt free, and my family's still gonna be okay. But what about you? And I say it in the fact that it ain't braggadocious. It's just real, and I keep it moving.
So explain what you teach at your seminars.
Oh, absolutely. First thing we do, let me tell you what the 7 spheres of money is. Okay, that's a great question. So, can you see these?
Yes.
Okay, so at my seminars, first thing I do is I explain to people what the 7 spheres of money are.
Okay.
And the 7 spheres of money are basically 7 categories that you will be impacted in your life from cradle to grave. Okay, you'll be impacted by accounting, which attends to your taxes. All right.
Okay.
You'll be counted by legal, which if you own any business and you have any type of success, you're gonna have a lawsuit or a settlement at one point in your life, if not many.
Okay.
Regardless if you never do anything wrong, because once you have money, somebody's coming to get some of your money.
Mm.
Okay, so that's legal. Then you have financial planning, which is basically doing the basics of budgeting and figuring out how your business is going to grow and do succession plan and create your legacy. Then you have banking. Banking is, how do I get money to get my business rolling? How do I get a loan to get a house? How do I get money to put my children through college, high school, etc. Okay.
Right.
Then you have pre-need planning. That's the part we all don't want to talk about. That's end of the road, burial, wills, and trust. Okay. Then you have estate planning. That's when you say, if I made millions of dollars, how do I keep as much as I possibly can? And a lot of people don't realize. Then the last one, not least, is small business planning as an entrepreneur. So those are the 7 spheres of money. So the first thing I do is I'm an educator. So I come out and I educate you to let you know you're participating in 3 out of these 7 spheres of money right now. You personally, Malcolm, you're participating in a minimum of 3. Here's what most professionals and working people are impacted by: taxes, housing, and education 24/7.
Right.
And generally, you're very reactionary. You don't worry about your taxes until January 31st. You don't worry about housing until you need one or trying to sell one.
Mm.
And you don't worry about education until you can't get into a school or you got accepted school and you can't afford it.
Mm.
And that's all reactionary. So you should be planning in advance. So what I do is I say most people have relationships that are not even relationships with their accountant, their attorney, or their banker. It's only matter of fact, when I have that situation pop up in my life, now it becomes the center of my world and I'm doing everything to get it done. That's
Right.
too late. You should have been planning that 24, 36 months out and had facilitate a relationship. So what I do, I actually go out into the marketplace, since I've held over 7 different licenses, from securities license, insurance license, you name it. I've had just about every one of them. I go out into the marketplace through my educational system and I give you a financial encyclopedia. You remember, you're probably too young to remember Britannica, books and encyclopedias would sit up on the shelves. Your dad would know.
Yeah.
Right. They're all digital now. But so what used to happen is you could go to, let's say, small business, and it will be 26 books. And you could pull a book out on an encyclopedia and say, oh, small businesses. And it would tell you everything about small business. Okay. You could say, oh, how do I get a college scholarship? It would be a book, a big old thick book, like you see in the Congress of Library, the Library of Congress.
That sounds exhausting. Right?
Exactly. But now you have Google to do that, right? So you will pull that open, study it, and they'll give you all the information. So what I've done, Malcolm, is I've taken that 26 books and condensed them down into a 12, 15-page pamphlet that has categories in it. For instance, you can go to one category and it'll say, why financial education? And it'll break down and tell you a statistic. Total household income in America, disposable income, 98% of our debt is from disposable income of us being careless. And these are facts that you can go on irs.gov, you can go on cnn.com, bankrate.com, which is a phenomenal bank site that's non-biased, give you all information about money and just gather these documents, right? And this information. So my class breaks these down in little vignettes. And if people don't know what the word vignette means, it's just a snapshot movie, like 5-7 minutes. I know you know, but that's all it is. It's like a quick video and it'll tell you everything you need to know. So in the book, what we've done is we've taken over 25 years of expertise and we've broken down every one of those 7 categories where whatever your problem is today, you can just flip through our book or you can flip through our online, webinar or online course and just take that part of the class and get all the information. When that happens, we now give you a option to get consultations complimentary from our program for 15 minutes for free.
Okay.
If you do that with us, we now give you the ability to actually find the professionals to work for, because we're advocates. We're not selling products and services. We're like you. We're giving the information into our community and telling you the right companies with the right ratings, with the right products that you should go out and pursue, if that makes sense.
Okay, so if somebody, what is usually your initial, I guess, advice to somebody who says, listen, I need help, I'm in debt or something. So what is usually the first thing you point them to, or the first thing you tell them, this is what you need to get settled right now? Somebody who's not even a business owner, but, a regular family person who just find themselves in a mess or find themselves like not where they want to be.
That is an awesome question. First thing you do is you take a self-analysis and check your budget. Alcohol Anonymous say, the first thing you got to admit to, you're an alcoholic. You got to look in the mirror, and there's 10 commandments, but there's 11th commandments. It's called thou shalt not jive thyself. So I would say, Malcolm, do you have a budget? And if you tell me no, I say, here's a budget sheet, got everything listed on it, from your cable to your kicking out party to buying a car. Fill in all the blanks and tell me where you're spending your money, because it ain't your outgo that's caused you a problem. It's the income that you're not keeping enough of. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I tell you to get consumer debt free. Now, mind you, I told you when I was about your age, I had over $40,000 worth of consumable debt, and I had a 525 credit score.
So this is not college loans.
No, this was consumer debt.
Oh, okay.
This was, I got a credit card, I was kicking it, and I was spending.
Okay.
No, not my college debt. So I want to make that very clear. This was, I was just out buying 500 here, 200 there, looked up and paying 20% interest, and didn't realize what the rule of 72 was, and it jumped on me.
Right.
So when I saw that, I'm going to give a shout out to a person that a lot of people don't like. I read a book by a lady named Susie Orman. It was called The Road to Wealth.
Oh, she's the truth. I don't know why people don't like her. I mean, I get why, but she's the truth.
Yeah. So I looked in her book and I found out that I had, and here's how I found I had bad credit. I was trying to buy my first multi-unit. I was trying to find and buy like a 6-unit building.
Okay.
I had owned a little small house, and I wanted to buy this 6-unit building that had 2 bedrooms, so it had 12 units in it. And when they did a credit check on me, they said, you got a 525. Can't give you nothing. You make good money, but can't give you no loan.
Okay.
So I saw her on public channel, PBS, and she was promoting her thing, and I immediately bought her book, went right to the chapter on credit, and it broke down the quadrants of credit. And within 6 months, I went from a 525 to 600. Within 12 months, I went to 680. Within 24, I went to 720. And about the 25th month, I went to 800. And that was in 99. Wow. And ever since 2000, I've been over 815 credit score and have never looked back.
Okay.
So those are the first things I would do. Number one, get a budget.
Okay.
And find out everything that you're spending your money on. Number two, get a plan to become consumer debt free, because it's the consumer debt that eliminates the ability for you to become financially independent. It's not the other debt. It's the consumer debt, because that makes you no money and it continues to eat all your money up.
Okay.
So if you can do that, in 2000, I became consumer debt free, which gave me a sense of freedom. But then in 2002, I became financially independent. And what that means.
Can you explain? Yeah, can you explain that?
Yeah, financially independent. And I think I've heard you talk about Robert Kiyosaki. I think you know who Rich Dad Poor Dad is. Yeah. I actually have worked with Robert Kiyosaki when he first came out.
Wow, okay.
Worked with him. Again, that's not to brag. These are just facts, okay? So Robert Kiyosaki's definition of financial independence is where your expenses are matched by your passive income, not your work income that you got to go out and work every day, your passive income. So there's only 3 types of passive income one should pursue. That should be through business acquisitions, That should be through real estate that pays you rent on a regular basis.
Right.
And that should be through dividend stocks or annuities. Okay.
Okay.
So in 2002, I was able to match my expenses with my passive income. Now, mind you, you might be thinking I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. No, I'm not. You know what? It was just as little as $8,000 a month.
Mm.
I was able to go and match my expenses with $8,000 a month passive income. And at that point, I was financially independent. Now, I want to take it back. When I owned the cleaning company, I made far more money than that.
Right.
And I lost it and I had to restart over again and I recalibrated and I started looking at my expenses from a different standpoint and I matched them.
Okay.
That's financial independence. But I started first by getting consumer debt free. When I got consumer debt free and I realized that I was paying 12, 15% interest on credit cards, and the rule of 72, if your audience and your subs don't know, is real simple. You take the number 72, take the amount of interest that you are paying and divide it into 72. So if it's 6, that's 12 years, your money will double in 12 years. Now, conversely, I teach in my class, if you're paying interest on debt, it will double against you at the same rate.
Mm.
Check this out, Malcolm. The average person files bankruptcy. How much money you think they owe when they file bankruptcy?
Not even 6 figures?
Nope. Here's what I always tell people. I give you 3 guesses. The first 2 don't count. So you get 1 more. Come down a little bit lower.
50,000?
You're going to be shocked. How about $5,500?
Wow.
I'm going to say it again. How about $5,500? Now, I'm saying the average person.
Right.
I'm talking about the average person who's making about $40,000 a year.
Wow. Okay.
Who's got credit card bills that they're paying $700, $800, $900 a month. The average person files bankruptcy about owing $5,500. And that person is financially illiterate because that's only about $300 to $400 a month extra that they could have got themselves out of. But these lawyers who start to pursue them to get these fees before they change the bankruptcy rules in the past 3 years come up and tell them, hey, flip the script, get a bankruptcy, you'll get a discharge in 12 months and you get back on the new side of life.
Mm.
The bankruptcy laws have changed now that if you file bankruptcy now, you'll be hosed for about 10, 12 years. It used to be you'd be hosed for about 24, 36 months and you could start anew. And of course, there's all different types of bankruptcies, but I'm talking about for the basic consumer bankruptcy that you file, about $5,500. And here, guess how I know, Malcolm? Guess how I know this?
Because did you have to do it?
No, I've never filed bankruptcy.
Okay, so these a lot of people you coach have to go through it?
Yes, sir. Guess what? It's 2018. I've been doing the 7 Spheres of Money program for 15 years. I have personally sat down with 10,000 individuals. And upon sitting down with 10,000 individuals, I've seen everything under the sun. So what I started to do, my accounting background and actuary science, which is just a straight bean county, which is analytics based on, which is something you like about Google Analytics and stuff like that. Right. All I do is look at the pure numbers. So for every 10 people I sat down with, I looked at their income, their spending habits, their excuses, what they did well, what they did wrong. And after I looked at 1,000 of them, I started getting the same statistics, no matter what color they were, what their social situation was, just facts. And I started documenting that and I started putting it into a curriculum. That's how I know. Then I started going to irs.gov for the tax returns. I started going to SSI.gov to see what Social Security is saying people are getting. Then I started seeing what the median household income. Right now, a lot of times people get confused, Malcolm, is that if you're in a circle of friends and your circle of friends average income is $100,000, you think that everybody in the world makes $100,000 based on the people you travel with.
Mm.
But here's the reality.
Okay.
You can't afford to hang around with somebody that makes more than $15,000, $20,000 a year more than you. And they can't afford to hang around with you if they make $10,000 to $15,000 less, because some of the things that you can do, they just can't afford to do. But again, we have the misperception. If I'm hanging around a guy or a gal that they only make 20,000, that's all I think the average person makes is 20,000. But if I hang around a guy that's making $1 million, And I make close to that. I think everybody we come in contact, because in our world, that's all we hang around with. That's how I got those numbers. So I take those numbers and I scale it back and I say, first thing you got to do, it didn't get you in trouble 5 minutes ago. If you came up to me, unless you just starting fresh,
Right.
you probably had bad habits for 4, 5, 6 years. And if you had bad habits for 4, 5, 6 years, ain't nobody on the planet, Malcolm, can get you out of it legitimately in 5, 10 minutes. But that's what people are sold. Hey, I can get you a bankruptcy. I can get you some credit lines and you can go get this. They don't tell you the negative behind that.
Right.
You're going to have to put your head down, plow through it, take your lumps like I did. And then once you learn them lumps, don't do it again. And then get an accountability team to hold you accountable. And that's what I was able to do. So once I blew that one business and started my new business and started getting consumer debt free, I had people who held me accountable on my spending habits, you know, things like this. And I let them be real with me and I didn't take it personal, because my dad taught me this, just like your dad. He taught me 3 things. He said, hey, 3 things I'm going to teach you. Never take advice from somebody that ain't where you are. Number 2, your word has got to be your bond. And number 3, hey, be careful who you hang around with. So I took those 3 advice. So from 3 things I teach people is real simple. I said, hey man, I don't take advice from my mother. I don't take advice from my father, because I've out succeeded them financially.
Okay.
I don't take spiritual advice from people who ain't where I'm trying to be. And I don't take leadership advice from people where I ain't trying to be. So how does that tone into finance? Finance is real similar. It's just like your God. 2 most precious things to people on this planet is talking about money and their God. But when you get them straight with their money, they'll tell you everything about their God.
Okay. Wow. So you emailed me this was Sunday, and you talked about like the first things I should do as an entrepreneur. So what are some of the things you would tell somebody, like first piece of advice for someone who's starting out in a small business? Because now it's 2018, it's about to be 2019. A lot of people have gone off of trying to start their side hustles, or they're trying to start their own businesses, becoming full-time entrepreneurs. So what would be the first thing you would tell them to make sure they have right off the bat?
Right off the bat, you got to have a business plan. Here's a book, and I think you might have read it. So if you're an entrepreneur, first book you need to have in your toolbox is Good to Great by Jim Collins.
I do have that. Yeah.
And there's only one chapter you need to read. And I've met him, and I worked with him for a quick cup of coffee. I met him and worked with him. So in chapter 5, it's called the hedgehog concept. And this is what I preach. It's 3 things he talks about. You got to have a passion for what you do. Man, you got it in spades. Number 2, you got to have the ability to be number 1 in your industry. And number 3, what's the economic bus, the turnstile that drives your business?
Okay.
So I'm going to say that again. Number 1, you got to have the passion. Okay. Remember, I was in the cleaning business because of the money. I wasn't passionate about the cleaning business. I thought it was beneath me, which was foolish. Okay. Number 2, you got to have the ability to be number 1. And if you ain't number 1, you got to be able to be number 2, because if you're number 2, when number 1 slips, you'll get a shot. There's another book called How to Swim Amongst the Sharks by Harvey McKay, who used to own the Minnesota Twins. Okay. And then again, number 3, what's the economic engine that drives people to your business? Your economic engine is your podcast.
Right.
People come on it for free. They find out what you do, and then it exposes them to all the other great things that you do that you can monetize.
Right.
Your shirts, your subscriptions, your books, your lectures, all of that. But your economic engine is urban excellence. And that's got to be the one that you give away and can afford to give away, because that's your marketing front to bring it into the door. What's my economic engine? My economic engine is actually giving people a basic class called Family Finance 101 that they come spend less than $100. I give them 2 financial plans. I give them a 3-hour class, and I give them access to my whole financial team for less than $100. And if they don't see the wisdom to do that, hey, God bless them. Right. But if you take Jim Collins' advice and Hedgehog concept: passion, the ability to be number one, and what's your economic engine to drive people to come see you, which is your podcast every Thursday, like clockwork. I listen to it, and then I come and I buy your wares.
But
You feel me?
right.
That's the first thing I would tell them. The second thing I would tell them is get control of your consumer debt. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to have excellent credit at some point in time in your life. Because see, banks and investors give money to people who don't. He said, if you can't sell, you ain't going to be successful in anything in life.
Right.
I mean, I had to sell you to interview me. You feel me?
Right.
I've been following you guys. And this is funny. My 11-year-old said, Dad, you about to be interviewed by Urban X and Malcolm. I said, yeah. He said, man, you've been trying to get up with them for like 6 months. I said, there's 4 P's. Here's the 4 P's to success. This is what I tell them last. Number 1, you got to be professional. What does that mean? Man, you hit me up right at 12 o'clock Eastern. Dude, that's clockwork, money.
Right.
That translates in all languages, all ethnicities, all creeds. That's a universal law of success. Professionalism. Boom. Number 2, you got to be persistent. Number 3, you got to persevere, because challenges are nothing but opportunities to show people why you're different and better than other people. And when you put those 3 together, number 4, baby, you produce. Those are the 4 P's of success. That's what I tell entrepreneurs. And then the last one, because you got 5 fingers on your hand, Malcolm. This is from my 9-year-old who's now 11. He said, you got to have this acronym called PREP. Write this down, Malcolm. This is
right now.
$50, okay? This is from Christian the Crusher Duransburg. P, he said plan. R, rehearse your game plan. E, execute it. And P, perform, baby.
I like it. That's a small kid.
Execute, perform. He said that when he was 9 years old. He's 11 years old today. That's what I tell entrepreneurs right out the gate. And if you do all of those, you will find those leaders that are way ahead of you because you put it out into the atmosphere. And the last one, which people think is corny, I write my goals down every year at the end of the year, and I place them all throughout my house. I put them on my bathroom doors, my office doors, my children's bedrooms doors, everywhere. People come to my house, they think I'm crazy. But you know what the funny thing is? Check this out. 2017, I put a goal down to make a new $250,000 a year in a certain category. Didn't hit that. Kept them goals up, hit it in 2018. Because your brain never goes to sleep. My subconscious constantly seeing the program that we wanted to run, and our 2018 dude doubled our business.
Wow. So really quick, I have another question for you, because you talked about college and you talked about these things, and I first got introduced to you because we did an Urban Excellence story on your son, who graduated from the University of Houston's STEM program at 14. Right? Over this past summer, am I right?
Yes, sir.
And you talked about, and what I've noticed, a lot of people, they have complaints about traditional schooling because it doesn't really teach them about, I guess, entrepreneurship and money the way they feel like they need it in the real world. So what are your views on college and traditional schooling in regards to money?
Man, I'm glad you asked me that. None of my children go to traditional schools. My 14-year-old, he is in a traditional school for the first time. All my children have been homeschooled.
Woo! Okay.
My 14-year-old has only gone to high school because he wants to be an electrical engineer.
Okay.
So from 12 to 5, he was homeschooled in a variety of different programs. So my wife's a scientist, and since I'm a financial, expert in my, niche market, we have created a hybrid curriculum for our children where my wife gives me a program for science, and I'm gonna shout out to some programs that people should, and you got to be an early adopter when it comes to education, because here's what I believe. No one should control the morals, ethics, and the principles of my children. I'll say that again. No one should control the morals, the ethics, or the principles of my children but me and my wife. Okay?
Right.
So I put a program together that I trust my intelligence from the Most High, that He gave me and my wife all we need to get our kids what they need to accomplish. And we'll find the tools that we'll use as assets. And you talk about one of my favorite books, The $40 Million Slave. I read that book when it first came out. That book came out in 1998 or 2000. But I took all the information that I learned that we did right. I look at the stuff that we did wrong, from what my mother didn't know about how I got educated, and the stuff she didn't know. And we said, look, we're going to trust that we're smart enough to put a curriculum together and get the things that my children are interested in. See, when kids have short attention spans, it's not because they're not smart. It's because they're disinterested and bored by the garbage that they already get. They may not be able to articulate some things, but they get it, and it's like, that's a waste of time.
Right. Right.
So what you have to be able to do is have the genius to find out what their interests are and give them all the information in that category. So what we did was we found out that science, technology, engineering, math is a necessity. If I had one thing to do over again, I would have got an engineering degree. I would never go to college to get any degree unless it's a specific technical degree, like a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer. Everything else you can learn on Google.
Right.
Even money, you can learn on Google and websites, but those specifics, you cannot. So our curriculum is taking science, math, technology, and engineering, and we put that together, and we found this little small program that came out called Khan Academy. I was one of the first people on Khan Academy 10 years ago. And we carved out a curriculum. Then we took my financial background, and I actually take my children to all my business meetings.
Oh, okay.
I took my 14-year-old that I sent you information. He was on stage speaking at 6 years of age when I had a client called the Federal Credit Union of Houston talking about money at 6.
Wow.
And here's the sad part about it. The president was a black woman. My son got a standing ovation. There was 400 people in the audience. I took their credit union and took their employees' participation in their 401k from 20% to 90% in 24 months. And they told me they no longer wanted to do business with me because I brought my son out on stage to speak.
Wow. Wow.
Go figure. Hey, let me give you a highlight if I can plug my son. My son just got accepted to the National Honor Society, the National Math Honor Society, and he just scored a 1360 on his PSAT, which on the SAT is equivalent to 1440. That puts him in the top 2% of performers at 14 years of age. And he's 5th in his class. This just happened.
Wow. Congrats to him, man. We're proud of him. Congrats, man, because what you're doing is just setting up your entire, like, his children, and then his children, he's setting up an entire, like, legacy for yourself that a lot of people, especially in the black community, we find ourselves behind the 8 ball from the jump because we're taught bad habits. We're not really taught about financial literacy, and then we don't teach it to our kids, or we teach what we think we know to our kids, and then so on and so forth. So you kind of broke the chain, and you're starting anew, and I think that is incredible.
Yeah, that's the legacy. And see, what we have to do is we have to collaborate.
Right.
Your family, our family, we have to collaborate because we are collectively a group of people.
Right.
And our best thing we can do for ourselves, and the best gift you can give, is to love ourselves. And see, we're given this projection that when we say we love blacks, they saying that means we dislike somebody else. No. That's just quite the opposite, my friend.
Right.
So we have to have the ability to collaborate and bring these tools to the table. So one of my mentors, his name is George. He said, hey, when everything's equal, I bet on black. But if I can't find a brother or sister that can bring me the skill sets I need to help my family get better, then I got to find the most qualified person to do what I need them to do. But prior to that, I'm betting on black. And that's the best thing you can do. That's a revolutionary act in of itself.
Right.
And that's why I said in that email I sent you, I said, hey, Malcolm, we don't need to get together. And if we don't get together, here's what I want to share with you. As a small business owner, it behooves you not to have a Roth IRA. It behooves you. Why do I say that? Because Only one vehicle that you can invest in and get all your returns tax free. I'm going to say that again. Only one vehicle that you can invest in and get your returns tax free. And since that vehicle is out there for you, it behooves you not to be involved, even if you only have $50 a month. People paying $100, $200 for a freaking cable, but they can't find $50 to open up a Roth IRA. They don't have a will. I told you, my aunt prematurely died of a heart attack this past week. Was in great health and everything. Left close to $500,000 assets. No will, just like Prince, just like Aretha Franklin. Because they always thinking, hey man, I'm gonna have time to do that. You must address your mortality now so that you can live your life to the max. So you don't have to be concerned about that. So if you and I never talk again, get yourself a Roth IRA. Get your will done. Just, continue to update it. And then get yourself a great annuity plan where you can bring maximum dollars into your business, because there's so different ways to bring money back. And with the tax laws changed by Trump, he made it advantageous for business owners. I'm not a Trump advocate, but I'm a business advocate first and foremost. Right. And I told people, and I'm not a political person, but I told people when they were jumping on the bandwagon Obama, I said, dude, I'm a Chicagoan. Obama is from Chicago. He couldn't even get voted mayor of Chicago and couldn't even be a councilman because we knew how fake he was. And what I meant by that, he did not advocate anything for black business. So I got to first protect my family, then I got to protect our family, if that makes sense.
I totally understand.
That's what you do. And then you also, every year, get the new updated tax laws so you can know how the tax laws impact your business, because there's certain entities, Malcolm, that you can finagle that can keep your money coming where the government can't touch it for a long period of time until you are no longer here. You just keep it moving. That's what the wealthy do. But it's right in front of us. Just open up a book. Can't get everything on Google. Got to get some hardcover, pamphlets and book covers and open them up, just like your dad does. Your dad's got a couple of credible books out there.
Right. So last question. What can you, first of all, before we get into where you can be reached and everything, what are somebody who's watching this for the first time and goes, you know what, I need to start, learning more about financial literacy and learning more about money. What are some resources you can point them to immediately that they can get started, they can get their feet wet, and then when they're ready to reach out to you, they can do so?
Absolutely. Bankrate.com. 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 That's first and foremost. Number 2, IRS.gov. Go out there and see what the average household income and what the tax laws are, and then if you're smart and you're looking down the road for, where is my life if I'm going to be here at 60, 65, go look at SSI and see what the files are for Social Security. Okay. If you do those 3, then you will start getting some information. Then you can come and knock on my door or somebody else's door, because now you have the hard empirical facts. You don't get emotional about it. Right. And if you do that, you will never go wrong. And then you can come find out educators or advocates, like our organization or somebody else's.
What are some questions that you recommend people ask other financial advisors so they can know that they're not getting shamed, or they know that they're talking to somebody who's actually about their business, somebody who's actually credible?
That's a great question, because you got a lot of general practitioners. So if I'm going to sit down with a financial advisor, first thing I'm going to ask him or her, hey, what's your credit score? What's your net worth? Mm-hmm. And guess what? Most of them don't want you to ask them that question. But if I'm being 100 with you, I should be proud of the fact of what I've accomplished. Right. And then here's the thing. Never take advice from somebody who has not failed in life. If you come across somebody, Malcolm, that telling you, man, they ain't never failed at nothing, they hitting home runs, scoring touchdowns every time, that person either telling the truth or they lying to you. And if they are telling you the truth, guess what? They're about to stumble. I've stumbled several times. Robert Kiyosaki says for a true entrepreneur to have true long-term success, he or she got to go through about 10 different businesses. Wow. Until you find the right one. So what you're seeing now, you're seeing me, man, at your age, What I know now, man, I have 1,000 more because of my experience and what I went through. So
Right.
now I've actually have started 7 different businesses and taken 4 of them to 7 figures. But this one I love doing, like Jim Collins said, this is my passion. This is my ability to be number one. I'm number one in my segment, in my niche market. I am number one. No hands down about it. And my economic engine, it works because I've been doing it for 15 years. So I expect my business to double just like that every year because I'm able to reach out to people like you who have platforms and able to do their due diligence. And if you happen to see a collaboration relationship that I can add value, writing for you or speaking for you to the audience, I will be there to do that.
Right.
And at the same time, I have people knocking on my door to allow me to get, and now I've done enough to know the crap and I know not to get enticed by things because we're all human. I got to know not to get greedy.
Right. Right.
That's what I've been able to do. So I'm happy to be twice your age because now I'm able to make quick decisions and I seen the video. All I do, Malcolm, now, I go back and play the video of when I was over my head.
Right.
Play the video when I was full of myself. And then I play the video when I did things right and ran the marathon. And I keep saying, oh, I seen this video. And
Right.
I'll give you a wrap up is that from 2002 to 2007, the market was booming. You could have threw a dart at stock market and made 1,000% return as a monkey. You could have bought real estate as a 10-year-old and made 100% return. But 2008, the market collapsed, made a major correction. But guess what? The market's right back now. It's in the same upward tick that we got about 36 months to make a whole ton of money and solidify our business. And it's going to make a correction when the new president election comes up. But if you have been sitting in the right position, you can pick apples out of a barrel, baby. And that's what we're doing. We're picking apples out of a barrel, and we're wise about our choices, and we're strategically aligning ourselves through that pattern that we saw back from 2002 to 2007.
All right.
That's experience. Wisdom for you is to have the ability to see what I already did, like you doing with your dad and your platform, and doing what we didn't do and doing what we did 100 times faster.
Okay.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
All right. So thank you, DJ. I really appreciate you joining with me today. Finally got this to happen. And the information you gave was amazing. This was game for all our viewers. This was game for free that he just gave you. So take his advice. Visit the site. I'll have him listed in the description below. And we appreciate it. Can you tell them where you can be reached? So,
oh, yeah, absolutely. You can reach me online at the 7spheresofmoney.com. That's the number 7, SPHERESOFMONE.com, the 7spheresofmoney.com. You can also reach me at duransburg.com, my original website that I keep up since I put it up since 2000, just to show you the history of when we were just getting into digital to where we are now. And then you can find me at Mr. 7 Spheres of Money on YouTube. I have a small YouTube channel. I don't put a lot of time and effort into it, but sporadically I put videos of classes that we work with companies. Like I was telling you, we work with the YMCA. I work with the Federal Reserve Bank, the state of Illinois, state of Michigan. I work with a lot of big companies, and I've worked with some celebrities as well. But primarily, reach me at the 7spheresofmoney.com or catch some of our sporadic videos on Mr. 7 Spheres of Money on YouTube. And they can always reach me at info@duransburg.com for emails. And that's info@deransburg.com. Again, that's info@deransburg.com. And they can always call my office. I have 7 offices at area code toll free 866-395-3042, 866-395-3042. And I'm always available. Any question that you have, I'm more than happy to answer. And we'll give anybody a free 15 to 30-minute complimentary consultation as a gift for having an opportunity to come on your platform. And hopefully we can collaborate together because, man, what you and your dad and your siblings are doing is remarkable. keep doing the do. I got nothing but love for you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And you will definitely be getting a call from us very soon because it's a lot of information that we don't know and that we need to be on top of as, business owners. So thank you. Thank you.
Hey, as you say, it's all about the urban excellence, right?
Facts. Exactly. Thank you again for joining us. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you
Bye-bye.
soon.